Hello, frogs. This is a Froggy Little Rewatch, a podcast dedicated to rewatching and analyzing every episode of Amphibia. This is not a spoiler free podcast. You have been warned. Without further ado, let's hop to it. Today's first episode is episode 1A, Anne or Beast. We open on a beautiful moonlit night in the froggy world of Amphibia, and right away that already says so much about the show. You know, most isekai stories start on Earth, with the protagonists living their normal human life before the inciting incident occurs and their normal reality is disrupted, and they find themselves in another world entirely. But Amphibia doesn't start on Earth, and it doesn't start with Anne. It starts with the frogs. They are the ones whose reality is presented as the normal world, and it's Anne who is the disruption to this normalcy, the intrusion on the status quo. And through this trick and perspective, Anne is configured as the other, not just by the frogs of Wartwood, but by the narrative itself. The title of the episode even gets in on the othering, asking us, is Anne a person, worthy of being referred to by her name? Or is she a beast, a monster, as the frogs will continually refer to her in this episode and in countless episodes after? This is the central conflict of the episode that Sprig, the episode's actual main character, must grapple with. And by placing the viewer in his and the other Wartwood residents' shoes instead of in Anne's, the episode makes the audience complicit in this othering of Anne, and thus forces them to confront it head on. Thus the episode raises one of the central questions of Amphibia. What does it mean to live in diaspora? To be an immigrant trying to hold on to your identity, while surrounded by people who view you as something other than themselves, who question your very personhood, your right to your own name. Anne will have to answer that question for herself, just as her parents did before her. We don't get too much character work in this episode for Anne due to the way the episode is framed, although what we do get does nicely set up her arc as one where she will have to grapple with her inclination towards selfishness in the face of a growing understanding of her own moral responsibility. But this is really Sprig's episode, not Anne's. Like Anne, he also struggles with responsibility, but unlike Anne, he does not hate responsibility, but rather aspires to it. I would argue this is the second major question this episode poses. What does it mean to be responsible? Does responsibility only extend to your family and your community? Or do we all have a moral responsibility that goes beyond that? The townspeople view it as responsible to seek out the quote-unquote monster and destroy it, which Sprig initially adopts as his own view of responsibility. But meeting Anne changes his mind, and he stands up to the townspeople in her defense instead, which Hop Pop, to his surprise, praises as even more responsible. Through Sprig's story, this episode posits that standing up to people you care about to defend the personhood and safety of another, even if doing so is dangerous and potentially costly to yourself, is the height of responsibility. That is the kind of responsibility Anne must spend this first season learning. By the way, can we talk about this weird-looking proto-Bessie snail real quick? Why did the show abandon this beautiful, ugly creature? Its single-minded devotion to leaves has entranced me. I love you, Proto-Bessie Snail, even if no one else does. Today's second episode is episode 1B, Best Fronds. We open back on Earth in that pivotal scene where Anne steals the music box and seals her and her friends' fates. And can I just take a moment to say, what an absolute dick move this is on Sasha and Marcy's part. I'm not even talking about any of the other stuff we learn later about what else these two got up to today. I'm specifically talking about the fact that this is Anne's birthday and they are making her steal her own birthday present. Like, steal it yourself, girlies. Or pay for it. We know Sasha and Marcy are both well off, and you can't tell me Sasha Waybright doesn't know how to haggle. But instead they're like, happy birthday, Anne, we picked out a present for you that has nothing to do with your interests, and you have to go steal it. Like, okay, fuck you too, I guess. It's just so unnecessarily and uncharacteristically mean of them, which is weird because they're not normally mean like this. But today they woke up and were like, yeah, we're gonna be kind of evil today, I guess. We're gonna make our friend steal her own birthday present. Like, what the hell, guys? I genuinely think this might be the worst thing either of them ever did. The other stuff they did, like attempted murder, kidnapping, I mean, whatever. They're 13. 13-year-old girls can do all the attempted murder and kidnapping they want. But making a girl steal her own birthday present? I do not forgive. Okay, rant over, but I am going to stay on this scene for a bit because it is obviously a crucial scene for not just this episode, but the show as a whole. It's the inciting incident of the show. It's the reason why anything in the show happens at all. And what makes this scene so great is that it wouldn't have happened if all three girls weren't at their worst in this moment. Marcy is unwilling to accept that her relationship with the other girls might undergo a change, and is plotting to keep them together forever through interdimensional kidnapping. Sasha is feeling insecure about her place in Anne's life and jealous of Anne's relationship with her parents, and is lashing out at Anne by controlling and pressuring her. And Anne is abdicating all moral responsibility and letting Sasha and Marcy make decisions for her, so she doesn't have to do the hard work of thinking and making her own moral choices. In a lot of ways, this scene is a microcosm of their friendship at its worst. But at the same time, as messed up as all three of them are in the moment where they steal the box, they're also all operating from a place of love. None of them feel secure in their friendship or in themselves, and they're all doing what they think they have to do to make their friends like them and want to hang out with them. And of course, the irony of it all is that they're all wrong. They'd like each other regardless. In fact, they'd like each other more if they stopped letting their insecurities have such a corrosive effect on their friendship. It's just that they don't realize that yet. And because of that, they get trapped in Amphibia. It's such a juicy and complicated scene that only gets better the more of the show you watch. Truly, Amphibia's portrayal of middle school girl friendships is unparalleled. Which leads us to the central question of the episode, namely, what is friendship? What does it mean to be someone's friend? Sprig asks variations of this question throughout the episode, and the show never really settles on one clear answer, instead leaving it open for future episodes to explore. We do see that Anne has a warped idea of what friendship is, and in my favorite moment of the episode, she tries to force this idea of friendship onto Sprig as well. It's not just that Anne has bad friends, but that she herself is a bad friend. Sprig, interestingly, doesn't push back on this because he doesn't have much experience with friendship, an idea that is arguably kind of contradicted later in the show when we see that he's very well liked and he hangs out with Ivy and stuff. But it is true that besides Ivy, he doesn't actually hang out with many kids his age. Regardless, in this episode, Sprig is presented as not having any friends. So although he has trepidations about swimming in the lake, he ultimately believes Anne about friendship and goes along with what she says. And I would argue that Anne doesn't actually learn a lesson about friendship here. She doesn't learn that she was wrong to manipulate Sprig into staying with her at the lake because manipulating your friends is wrong. She learns that it was wrong because there was a snake in the lake. She still has a lot of growing to do before she actually starts understanding what it means to be a good friend. We end the episode by briefly checking in with Sasha, who, contrary to Anne's hopes, is very much not okay. She is literally in prison. Free my girl, she did nothing wrong, except make Anne steal her own birthday present. That's all for today. If you'd like to reach out to me, whether you want to send me hate mail for my opinions about children's cartoons, or you want to appear on the podcast to discuss Amphibia or another cartoon you like, you can email me at dominoboonchoipod@gmail.com. I also have a Patreon, link in the description below, where you can get videos 2 weeks early, as well as exclusive access to monthly animated movie discussions. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.